Hello, listener. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Yep, I'm already dropping jewels just by you listening to this podcast. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. How simple is that? Anchor will do all the work for you by distributing your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Not to mention, you can make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So what are you waiting on? Download the Anchor app and get busy. Hello, listener. This episode, I'm going to be talking about satisfying your guarantee and how to get it by any means necessary. Enjoy the show. Wouldn't it be great if we had a guarantee that life would be grand? I mean, let's really sit and think about that. What if your life turned out to be just the way you wanted it? I used to sit around thinking about what I would spend my millions on if I somehow won the lottery. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought about this question. I know I'm pretty sure that there's millions of you that thought about this same thing. You know, what if you won the lottery? What would you spend your millions on? A big house, a fancy car, more jewelry, more partying. I mean, I can't be the only one to thinking about this. But once I started to think about it, and then the question fades, and I didn't win, and then reality strikes and I'm stuck with the same shitty bills and the same shitty home I pay for month after month, the fucked up car I neglected to fix or even get an oil change done for months on end. The same life, day after day. This wasn't the guarantee I promised my younger self. Not to mention, I still had this unanswered question. Well, life got better. And I didn't need to hit the lottery to actually see life get better. But I started to think back to a greater time when my dreams would take me to stadium-filled concerts where I was rocking the crowd. I would have every ear listening to every word and metaphor I recited from some rhymes I wrote. But now we're getting into fame. And fame and money, there's no guaranteed satisfaction in that, right? The crazy thing about that is, I told my adolescent self that that's what a satisfying guarantee was. That's what I used to chase after. Fame and money. Fame and money. If I wasn't famous enough, then my money wasn't right. If my money wasn't right, then I wasn't famous enough. I was always chasing after something. Oh yeah, and I used to chase after being heard. But that brings me to my next point. I just wanted to be heard. If I could just be heard. Just to be heard. Isn't that what everyone's searching for? The satisfying guarantee of someone just hearing what you're saying. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Here's some examples to back up my claim. The newborn baby that wants his parents to just fucking feed me and change me. The kid that's struggling with life because of a fucking bad hair day. The teen who got rejected by the ugliest, weirdest kid in school and can't seem to find a place to fit in. The adult that's looking for a way out of the rat race, just wishing on a star. Is anybody out there listening? Can anybody hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? I don't recall ever graduating at all. Sometimes I feel I'm just a disappointment to y'all. But there's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. From Chris Tucker to CeeLo Green to Buffalo Springfield, they were all looking to be heard. And once you took the time to listen, they were all granted that satisfying guarantee. So, the next time you're looking to be heard, don't scream at the top of your lungs. That would be yelling. Think of another way to get your point across, and then scream at the top of your fucking lungs. Not to mention, you'll be a total badass and a rock star if you won the lottery. Wow, this shit really explains itself. Now go out there and get your satisfying guarantee. You're welcome. But it never works like that, right? You're always pushed and pulled in so many different ways. Just trying to get a guarantee or get a grip on a guarantee never really works out. So you're stuck with the thoughts and the hopes and the dreams, failed ditched efforts. It's fucked up, but it's true. So how do we take a bleak situation like trying to get a guarantee and turn it into a win? Well, the point is you shouldn't be looking for any guarantees because nothing's guaranteed except for your death date. That's the only thing that's guaranteed to you. So for me, knowing that I had an expiration date, I try to live up every second of every moment. But I didn't always think like that. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Maybe this shit's starting to settle in now. And I'm thinking, oh man, I got an expiration date. I got to do everything. Here's how you got to think about it. You got to take that knowledge of knowing that you have a death date and anything in between, you should be trying to make the most of it, you know? But that's all bullshit. Like, right? I could be pulling that shit right out of my ass. And you've been sitting here for the full podcast just listening to me ramble on. That's not the truth. The truth is that, you know, satisfying your guarantees or a satisfying guarantee for me personally has always been what brings me the most satisfaction at the end of the day. I want that to keep coming back over and over as a guarantee. So finding satisfaction in something small like a song that might bring me back to my childhood, that's never going to change, right? Not unless someone changes up the lyrics and makes a remix. And then at that point, it might change the whole fucking trajectory of what you're thinking when you listen to that song. You know the new age that we're living in. Everything needs to be remade and remixed. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is you shouldn't take the small things for granted. And here's some examples of what some small things are. Well, for me anyways. It's having a laugh with a friend. It's kissing a new girl. It's seeing that person that you haven't seen in a long time. The small things, right? Here's another satisfying guarantee. Watching my daughters get older and knowing that I put every ounce of fathering into them to make them become the best and beautiful women that they are. I mean, if you're a father and you got girls, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't stop them from getting older. But to know that I'm putting some great people out in the world, that's probably one of the biggest satisfying guarantees to me, besides just being able to wake up every morning. Because you're never going to hit the lottery. And if you do, please send some money my way. My Cash App is, I'm just kidding. I kid. But in all honesty, a satisfying guarantee is waking up every day and getting to do it all over again and again and again. And enjoying that part of life, you know, because you're already living in yesterday. So you never know what tomorrow's going to bring you. And I hate to sound so cheesy and cliche, but it's the truth. Again and again and again, I'm waking up to these blessings. Ben Franklin's all in my hand. I thought that was life until I got older. Seen it was colder, grab a controller. It's God playing the cop. Won't know until I'm pulled over. I got a dream, I'm looking for greens. And it all seems that it ain't enough, but what is enough until it's too much? And I wake up and feel that I'm fucked. What should I do? Looking for the ends of the parts of truth. Feeling a little 100 proof, about to kill the doom. The whole world of gloom. Oh shit. See? I got a one-track mind. I could just bust into a flow anytime, any moment. It doesn't even matter. We were talking about satisfying guarantees. Damn, I got off track. Let me get back on track. Anywho, so feeling like the satisfying guarantee is just waking up. Yeah, you could feel like that, but sometimes I'll be feeling like I was in my flow right now. You know what I mean? Like sometimes things could be so great and you're feeling like things are going so fucking great, and then bam, you get hit by a fucking Mack truck, and then things are all fucked up. I remember this time I was doing really well in life, and it was about to get better. You know, I was about to come into some money, more than a few grand, you know, tax time. You know where I'm going with this. And the minute I was getting ready to get all these funds in my hand, I mean, I go down to the office. I was already like spending the money. on fucking big screen TVs and rims for my car. Yes, yes, yes. Rims on my car, because that's how I think. Okay? Don't judge me. Anyways, I was spending the money that I didn't have. And I go down there to pick up the check and get ready to splurge as best I can. And it all got wiped out from my school loans. Oh, I felt sick. That's not a fucking guarantee. But for me in my life, at that point in time, that was a satisfying guarantee that I was about to ball the fuck out. And this type of balling only comes around once a year. So I was really dependent on this money. And when it didn't happen, it depleted me. Who or what the fuck was a garnishment? I never heard of this word garnishment. What is a garnishment? I didn't go to the school anymore. Why the fuck did I need to pay them back for some shit I wasn't learning anymore? I sat in the seat. You couldn't teach me because my brain doesn't work like that. It works in many different ways, and I'm a scatterbrain, but that's okay. You couldn't teach me, so why do I need to pay you back? I mean, if I had a gun and I seen a motherfucker walking down the street and his first name started off with a G, I probably was going to shoot him. I wanted to shoot myself because I had a G in my goddamn name. That's how mad I was about this money that I had already spent in my head. So why would you want to put a guarantee in that? I guess that's my point that I'm trying to make. Oh, I got it. A divine intervention. You know, like something like a miracle could happen. You want to see the positive in everything that happens in your life. You could do that, because I do that sometimes. I do that shit a lot, actually. Like the divine intervention would be, bam, shit gets fucked up. You get hit with shit like a Mack truck. But then the reason why you got hit with that shit is because you needed to see something else in your life. I could see that. But I'm not going to lie. I'm still looking for the reasoning behind the government taking my taxes to pay on my school loans. I wanted to fucking ball out. I got it. I needed to see things in a mature light. And the world is much bigger than just 20-inch rims that I wanted on my fucking beat up bucket. I get it. So could another example be like you lose your job, so bills start piling up, and then the guy who's actually calling you to collect on your bill, you're like, damn, this dude got a sexy ass voice. So what's this guy all about? See, you just met somebody. Divine intervention, a satisfying guarantee, right? Probably wrong. I don't know. But the guy on the other end of the line would be me. See, I'm talking to you through my podcast, and I used to collect on bills. Man, this shit's coming full circle for you. I know your head is exploding. You know who gives out satisfying guarantees? Amazon. Amazon gives out fucking satisfying guarantees. And if Amazon is listening, Jeff Bezos, if you're listening to this podcast, man, I would love some sponsorship. So just letting you know, I'm a whore for sponsorship right now. Anywho, I mean, let's go back. Satisfying guarantees. So you buy something online. This is probably the only place besides the place that I sell clothing and stuff like that. Shameless plug. WeirdClothingCompany.com. If you're looking to buy some anti-bullying clothing, you're more than welcome to shop on my website. But you buy something online from Amazon and it comes to you and it's fucked up or you don't like it. You get to send it back and they never ask any questions. That's like dope as fuck. So that's one of the satisfying guarantees. I know I'm kind of getting off in the retail as opposed to like your life. And I know that's how this podcast kind of started, but I'm just trying to make a point here. If you know me and you keep listening to this podcast, you're going to find out I'm a scatterbrain. Sometimes my mind could go here, go there. You know, I guess it's part of my ADD maybe. I was never diagnosed with that, but I'm just saying I have it because it sounds cool to say that I got ADD. No offense to anybody who has ADD and living with that shit, and it's like a fucked up thing. But for me, saying that I have ADD makes you kind of gel with me a little bit more and to say, hey, this motherfucker's a scatterbrain, so he might just pop off and say anything And I kind of said that in a trailer of my podcast. You might hear some shit. So what I want to do with this podcast is I want to, one, just talk about my failures and talk about my wins. I want to talk about my personal life and, in a little bit more detail. I just want to be able to talk to my listeners so they can know who I am a little bit better than what they actually know. And I know right now, if you're just new and you're just tuning into this podcast, you're probably like, who the fuck is this guy? I don't even know you from the beginning. And I know. Bear with me. This podcast is about finding out what makes Erik tick. Probably not. But you are going to hear what makes me tick out in the world, because there is a few things that kind of get under my skin. But that's on down the line for later episodes. Right now, I'm glad you're listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back, because I've threw some rap at you. I've threw some life inspirational shit at you. I've threw some song quotes. I've threw some movie quotes at you. I've threw a lot of shit at you. So you have a lot to process. So in conclusion, the satisfying guarantee is to hit the lottery and get rich as fuck and then pay me, Erik. No, I'm just kidding. The satisfying guarantee is just to look into the small things. Waking up every morning is a satisfying guarantee. Thanks for listening. This podcast is produced and recorded by me. I'm the only one behind the scenes making this podcast happen, so listening and spreading the word would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'm sure your ears will thank your brain later. Inconsistently consistent. I'm out. This episode of Inconsistently Consistent was produced and recorded by Erik G. Polk. This is a Weird Recordings production.